everyone, you're welcome to my channel. So today we are learning how to make this double gathered gown. So you can use belt alongside the it. So it's a maxi wear. So if you like, you can use belt. So if you like this tutorial, if you really enjoy it, you can give my video a thumbs up. Please share and subscribe as well. Thank you very much. So for this gown, the measurement I'll be using is shoulder to nipple point 10, shoulder to under bust 13, shoulder to half length 16. Then the gown length is 40. The circumference of the bust is 36, circumference of the under bust 30, circumference of the half length 30. The shoulder is 15, and the sleeve length, sorry I didn't write it down, is 12 and 11. So now this is the fabric I'm using for this tutorial. It's Ankara fabric. So for the first part, I'll first cut the upper part, which is the from shoulder to upper bust. Though I didn't mention the upper bust, but I'm going to use 7 inches for the upper bust. That's from shoulder to upper bust on this side, because the cloth has direction, the leaf has direction. So 7 inches, then I will add half to it. Then I'll come to this side. I'll measure the circumference of the shoulder, which is 15 inches divided by 2 will give me 7.5. Then from there, I'll connect it to this. I'll make armhole shape. So from this armhole shape, I'll measure 4.5, then cuff it to the armhole measurement, like so. Then after that, the circumference of the bust is 36, but for the upper bust is 34.5. So 34.5 divided by 4 will give me 8.6. Then I will add 2-inch seam allowance to it. So I'm going to cut out this now. This for the front. No, it's double gathered gown. So this is the front part of the double gathered gown. And I'll trim out the edge I said I'm not going to use. So I'll use this to cut my back bodies. You know, the back we have zipper allowance. So I'm making use of the zipper allowance I'm making use of is 2 inches. So this 2 inches for the zipper allowance. So now the next thing is to cut the neckline. The neckline I'm cutting both front and back together. Let me open up this zipper allowance. So I'm making use of 3 inches for the neckline. That's for the width. Then the length of the neckline for the back, I'm going to make use of 1 inch. Let me first cut that out. Then for the front, before that, let me trim the shoulder. You know the shoulder is not straight, so I'm removing 1 inch from the shoulder, then slant the neckline to the shoulder. So now I've separated the front from the back. Don't forget to notch your zipper allowance of 2 inches. Then after that, for the neckline of the front, it's not going to be too open, so I'm making use of 4 inches. So this depends on your choice, how low you want it to be. So I'm done cutting the upper bodies of the double gathered gown. For the first gather, what I'll do is I'll minus the gather is going to end at the first gather is going to end at the hip length, and the hip length I'm using for this measurement is 24. So what I'll do is I will subtract the first 7 inches, the one I use for the upper bust. I'll separate it um from the hip length, which is 24 minus 7. That will give me 17 inches. So that 17 inches, I will add 1 inch allowance for my folding. Then for the circumference, I will say the upper bust times 2.5, because I don't want it to be too full. So I'm using 2.5, and that is 34.5 times 2.5. So that is 85. So I'm cutting 85 by 18 inches plus that 1 inch allowance. 85 by 17 inches. So the length is 17, while the circumference is 85. So this is 60. Then I'll continue. $85, that's, I need 25 more. Then plus extra 2 inches, that's for the allowance. For the second gather, I'm going to use, I said I'm going to deduct the hip from the gown length. So the gown length is 40 and the hip is 24, where I determined the hip is on 24. So 40 minus 24 will give me 16. Then I'm going to add 1 inch extra to it. That's for the folding. So that will give me 17 inches. So the length is 17. By what I will do is, I multiply the upper bust by 2.5. So for the down part now, I will now multiply the upper bust by 3.5. Reason being that I'm still going to gather this on the first gather that I measured. So the first one I measured it by 2.5. This one I'm going to say 34.5 times 3.5. So I've gone ahead to cut my facing for the upper bodies. So what I will do now is to add paper stay to this, gum paper stay to this, and the facing as well. Then for because I want to put belt there, I want it to have extra belt. So what I'm going to do is, what I did is I measure 4 inches for the length of the belt, then by 60 inches. So I'll fold it this way, then stitch this side. I'll show you when I'm doing that. Now I've gum my paper stay to both the facing and the fabric. So this is the back. I've sewn the neck. This is the back, and this is the front bodies. So what I will do now is I will join this, the back and the front. I'll just join inches here. That's for the back and the front. Then for the first gathered, I've run to, okay, for the first step, the first gathered, I've sewn 2 stitches. I used this tension, the last tension here, I use the last tension here on 5. So ensure you put your tension on this gathered where you want to sew. So after that, the 2 stitches, I ensure I left the rope outside. So the next thing I'll do is I'll pull the rope. don't let it cut. So I will use it to gather the remaining, just to smoke it. Now I've joined the first gather to the upper bodies, you can see. So I'll go ahead and join the second gathered, but before that I will get the midpoint of this and notch it. And I will notch the midpoint. Then I will go ahead, this gathered parts as well, I'll fix it on this, then use my lining to do the finishing.